Hi everybody, welcome to the Stepping Forward with Kate show. I'm Kate Hellmers. Today we're going to talk about what foods you're sensitive to and how to find out in seconds. We're going to talk about how food and your environment can keep you from losing weight, getting rid of your aches and pains, and even diseases. And we're so excited to have Dr. Cathie Lippman with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
She's a renowned environmental medical doctor, and we'll talk about what that means. And she has her conventional medical degree from Pritzker School, University of Chicago. Go Chicago, even though I'm from LA. Her pediatric internship was right here at LA County USC Medical Center. And she was also board certified in adult and child psychiatry with her advanced studies at UCLA. So, of course, I have to get into the who do you root for during football season, UCLA or USC, but we'll talk about that later. She is also certified in detecting sensitivities and potential remedies of all kinds of things that you have in and around you. You know, what you drink, what you eat, what you put on your body for lotion, etc. And she is going to show you how to do that in just a few minutes. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. Actually, we're in your offices in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Because I wanted you to see this. As you know, I traditionally start the show with 5 questions. So are you ready?
Duly warned.
Okay, here you go. What is one of your favorite books?
Ping of the Yangtze River.
Oh, interesting.
This is a child's book, and it's one I remember with great enjoyment from childhood.
Oh, that's so cute. And what is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
That is, and I'm glad you gave me a chance to think about this in advance, if you don't ask the question, the answer is no.
Ooh, really?
Yes.
You don't ask the question. I think I've gone opposite that sometimes. Ask forgiveness afterwards, but wow, that's a great one. That's probably true.
Well, it's because I'm originally much shyer than I am now, but I'm still basically very shy. And shy people, you know, you don't want to stir the waters.
Got it. Yes. So it's safer for the answer to be no if you don't ask the question.
Well, it's safest not to ask at all.
Not to ask at all.
But then what good is it?
Seriously, there is a little fun in all the rest of it. And, you know, everyone's gone through a rough period in their life. What did you do when that happened to you to step forward?
Well, I was trying to think about that, and I remember that I always wanted to become a doctor. And when we were out here already, and when I had the chance to think about it, I was thinking, wait a minute, am I going to go to medical school? Maybe I should go to law school, you know, and I started thinking about different things. So I decided, okay, I'm going to flip a coin.
You did not.
And I flipped a coin, and it came 3 out of 5 for law school. So I said, all right, I'm going to flip some more, you know. And I flipped until it said medical school, and I said, okay, I'll go to medical school.
Which is interesting because I work with a lot of people in regards to their intuition and how to decide. And one of the things that I try to tell people is that if the answer doesn't sound right, which obviously law school didn't, then that's not the right one.
Exactly.
So, you know, flipping that is so funny. And what are some of your daily or weekly habits to keep you motivated and to keep you going?
Well, I'm blessed by the work I do. So just meeting with my patients and seeing them, I'm also blessed with the staff I have who are very fine, mature women, and we have a great sense of humor together. We have our own mystery book club, for example, and it's a delight to be able to be here and to be able to do the gratifying work I do. So that keeps me going.
Oh, that's fantastic. And how do you like to relax?
I love a good mystery.
Television and books, or mostly books?
Mostly books. And just to read and go for walks and appreciate the Los Angeles weather. That's
Yes,
So wonderful so much of the time,
it is. It's so true.
especially when the smog is less.
So Dr. Lippman has promised to have another interview about GMOs and organic food because there's so much information, which we're thrilled that you'll be able to let us know. But today we're going to concentrate on exactly how she narrows down the chance of what affects your body. And last week I popped by her office and she ran this test. And so today, after some changes I made this week, we're going to test again to see what the results are. It's absolutely fascinating. So basically, this tests what you're sensitive to. Is that correct?
Hmm.
Okay. And could you give us a little bit of background about it?
Yes. So environmental medicine regards illness as being a result of a sensitivity or an intolerance to some aspect of the environment. It might be food, it might be pollens in the air, it could be electromagnetic radiation. Whatever is in your environment might be a source of the symptoms you have. And instead of taking medication for them, if you treat that sensitivity and or if you avoid the substance to which you're sensitive, you can feel better. And feeling better without having to take prescription drugs that all too often have side effects, I think is the way to go, personally.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
If it's feasible.
If it's feasible, right. But you also run, you were telling me last week, you also run blood panels for people.
Well, I do other testing besides, if, for example, if parasites come up, I'll ask a person to do a parasite test. There are tests for if people are deficient in nutrients. There are tests for neurotransmitters, for different kinds of infections. It really varies.
Well, can you show us how
Yes.
this works?
So this was developed about, I would guess, about 90 years ago, maybe 100 years ago, originally by Dr. Reinhold Voll, a brilliant German physician who was also knowledgeable in homeopathy and traditional Chinese medicine. I mean, any one of those three is amazing. And he figured out how to check electrical conductance at acupuncture points. So it's very similar to a lie detector test. Galvanic skin response is what we're looking at. And instead of asking the person trying to catch them in a lie, we're just using the information from the body. So it's one way of tapping into the intelligence of the body, because I think bodies are very intelligent. If they weren't, we wouldn't still be around after all the years we've been on Earth. So that's the basic principle. The program, it's basically registered as a biofeedback device with the Federal Food and Drug Administration. And so it's legit. And let me show you. So you get a signal from the program. It puts out a radio wave on whatever the energetic pattern is applying to the specific thing we're testing.
Okay.
And we read how you respond to it. So, for example, let me give you, oh, here's a prettier pillow that goes with your blue.
Fun.
And get chair. We'll bring you up on the system. So you hold this ground, which completes the circuit.
Got it.
And I take this piece and I touch it to an acupuncture point on your finger.
Ah, okay.
And we'll get, first we're going to test and make sure we can test you. And I touch this to this point. And the line goes into the green. That's what we like to see. When the line goes into the green, it means you're balanced on whatever we're testing. Okay. And right now it's telling us that we can test you.
Yay.
So here's electromagnetic radiation. And I set it up as if I were provoking you, like a skin test, blood test, to see how your body responds. So here's electromagnetic radiation. the line goes over the green, suggesting electromagnetic radiation is an irritant for you. And we want to know if you're particularly sensitive to it. So I put high potency of histamine on the tray, which is a part of the circuit.
Okay.
And we look for a change in the reaction. There isn't a change, so that means you're not very, very sensitive. You're mild to moderately sensitive, which I think is an improvement.
Great.
For you.
Well, you had told me to eat more green vegetables and to stay out of Wi-Fi, etc., which I have. So that's amazing within 1 week that there would be a change.
Whenever I speak to the public, and I speak to groups quite frequently, one of my favorite comments is to tell them that I've had nobody come into my office as a patient who was eating too many vegetables.
I'm usually pretty good, but clearly I need more.
So here's food.
Okay.
Let's look at dairy, for example. And here's cow's milk. And the line goes over the green.
Wow. So I have to tell everybody for 1 minute. Last week when I was here, it came up that I was sensitive to milk. I love milk. I love dairy. I love cheese. I love all of that stuff. But I especially like milk.
It tastes good.
It tastes really good. But one of the things that I decided that when I took this test, if I was sensitive to things, that I would try and correct that and see how I would feel. So Dr. Lippman had mentioned that, and you can explain this better than I can, to eliminate it from your body for 4 to 5 days. And then
that unmasks. So
okay.
If you eliminate it, the body unmasks your sensitivity to it. And that way, if you then have some, your reaction is bigger than ever.
Right.
Whatever your reaction would be. And I told you the story of friends of ours she was sensitive to spinach. And when we got together for a card game, she would make a spinach dip. And she couldn't understand why she was getting a headache every time we came over. And we tried to tell her it wasn't us. And when we tested her, it turned out she was sensitive to spinach. And that explained the headache as well, because she eliminated spinach and she then had a bunch on the 5th day. And the headache came immediately, and she just about had to go to bed. It was such a nasty one.
So you never know what it's going to be for different people. Everybody's different.
That's right. That's right. Everybody is different, and there is no one thing that's right for everybody.
So interesting. So I did that, and it was, 6 days? And then last night I had a glass of milk just to see what the test would be. And sure enough, instantly, it wasn't a bad headache, but wow, sinus problems and everything. Yeah, a lot of pressure.
Well, the problem with cow dairy is it's the most mucus producing of all the foods we eat, and people don't realize it.
Mm-hmm. So milk I should stay away from, and wheat just very gradually.
What else came up? Wheat?
Wheat.
These are the most common foods this is what we eat.
Right.
So it's not surprising that they're the ones that we're sensitive to.
Oops.
Look
Really?
at that, folks. Now, if you ate some, you might have some reaction. But what this tells me is that you're getting better.
In a week, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean I necessarily have to cut it out of my food forever.
That's right.
Just little bits.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Now, that's not true of everybody, but
Right.
for the average, basically healthy person, it's true.
And what I've found is a lot of people that travel sometimes end up with parasites, and they don't find out what the problem is for months or years.
Right.
But this can tell you if you have a sensitivity to it
And in fact,
in 3 seconds.
I have had a number of people who've come in, and their complaint as adults of varying ages was that all of a sudden they were getting rashes. And one woman had a really very bad rash and had had it for several months, and nothing was touching this rash. And when I hear that story, my first thought has become, this person picked up a parasite. Because when we did a special test for parasites, she showed positive. We treated her, and the rash went away immediately.
Okay. And then the last one I want everybody to see is the Wi-Fi effects, like being around.
The electromagnetic radiation?
Correct.
So let's go back to that.
See if mine's.
So this is like a computer. No, it looks all right. And here's radio waves, as in Wi-Fi. You're not showing sensitivity. And you're not showing as much irritation from it.
Okay, fantastic.
So it's getting better.
Wow, that's great. Well, this is fantastic. When someone comes in here to talk to you, I presume that they've usually, unless it's a regular client, patient, I presume they've been to doctors and they can't figure out what the problem is, and they have pains or aches or rashes, etc.
Sometimes, very often.
So my question is, why don't doctors have this in every medical facility on the planet?
That's a great question, and I frequently hear it. Doctors are people like everybody else. Many of them are taught a certain way, and they think that's the only way.
Oh,
No,
hard to change.
it's hard to change.
Well, do you find that a lot of people, when they get the results of this, do they change their diet, or do they only change their diet if they're in extreme pain, for instance, like the spinach?
Well, for somebody to come see me there, that's
Usually.
already a select group. The hard ones especially are children. And often it's the parents who, feel so badly that the child can't have wheat, for example, or shouldn't have sugar. But really, it's just, there are many ways of substituting.
Right.
And for the most part, I find that when the parent supports the child and talks about being healthy and having other treats and arranging other treats, the child manages it pretty well, if not even okay, if not even excellently. Like I have one child who's now going off to college, and he has a tic disorder. Well, he knows if he eats certain foods, his tics get much worse.
Really? I've never even heard of that before. Wow.
And so when he gets offered foods, he says, no thanks, it's not good for me.
At the end of our show, we usually do 30 seconds of fun, if that's okay with you. And our timer,
You ready?
yes, our timer is right here. So, you ready? Here we go. Tomato or tomato?
Tomato.
Tomato. Moonlight night or starry night?
I don't know that they are different necessarily. I guess the moon
Brightens it up. Yeah.
brightens it up so you don't see the stars.
Or both.
Both.
Both. Favorite ice cream?
Well,
All?
many.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Handel or Beethoven?
Both.
Both. Oh my gosh, 30 seconds is up. There we go. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank
so
you very
appreciate
much.
it.
It's been delightful.
Oh my gosh, this is absolutely fantastic. You should run to Beverly Hills to see Dr. Lippman to find out what you're sensitive to and see how you can get rid of aches, pains, everything. just changing little things. It's been really an incredible week. The differences that I feel, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for being with us. I'm Kate Hellmers with the Stepping Forward with Kate show, and check us out at your10keys.com and our VIP site, which is absolutely free with tons of information. Have a great day. Be blessed.